Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Ferdy Adimefe podcast. Right? Um, I love stories, and when I'm reading a book with a coffee, or I'm actually watching a movie, I'm always asking myself, "What is the story here? How do we get to understand people through the stories they tell?" And I do feel when we begin to understand our stories, we'll understand the world better, and more importantly, we'll learn ourselves. So, from the high moments to the low moments, and everything in between, we have different guests that will come every day to share with us what their journeys have been about. Today, I have someone who I really, really love and admire, and have seen her journey over the last 3 years from entrepreneurship to social impact to also building a community of young women that she's looking to propel to destiny. Our guest today is Rachel, LULU-BRIGGS, but also you. Did I get that part?
Yes, we got that right.
I got it.
Yes.
Oh, but I used to tease Tony that LULU-BRIGGS is always cooler. But he will not agree. So Rachel got married a couple of weeks ago. It was weddings, there was a court, and it was fun being there. We had so much food. We sat next to the caterer.
Yes.
And as they were coming in, they were like, "What next?" I said, "Just keep bringing." All right. So, Rachel, I think it's amazing, but following your journey and seeing the many parts, the entrepreneur, the hospitality, real estate, facility management, finance,
Yes.
investment,
Yes.
structuring investment models, and all of those things. You have so many parts to you. But is there a way you can attempt to summarize yourself in 3 words?
Okay. In 3 words. That's a tough one. I would say, I would say a builder,
Okay.
a manager, and impact.
I love that. So builder, manager, impact. Let's start with the builder.
Okay.
I do know that at a very early stage you were thrown into managing a business and running hospitality, and it was a large scale for someone that young. You've gone on to create your own companies, and you are always inventing. But how has that journey been for you in terms of as an entrepreneur and a female entrepreneur? How's the journey been?
It's been, I would definitely say it's been a challenge. It has caused me to come out of my comfort zone more than once, more than twice, to be honest. Starting from managing our family hotel, going into building businesses, it has always been a thing of having a lot of confidence in yourself because not only are you building the business, you are speaking to clients, you're trying to secure deals, you're trying to, or you're working at building a team, and your team need to be able to work with you as well. They need to respect you to a certain degree. They need to understand where you're coming from. And being much younger, a lot of times I was much younger than a lot of my employees. So it really, it really caused me to, I think, mature at an early age and learn a lot, especially about leadership as well. Yeah.
But just even thinking about building in Africa, people always say that is a tough one. First of all, on the talent side, the challenges of how to hire, who to hire, capital side, how to find financing, and all of those things. And when you have a chance to go abroad and you've lived there for over 12 years on and off, and you return to Africa, was it an easy journey for you to return? Because what we're seeing is Japa, but this is reverse. So for every time I find people who have lived there and still feel the need to come back home and build, I always want to understand what's driving that idea. But why do you think you need to be in Nigeria and Africa at this time, and why did you return?
So for me, I mean, my father would always tell me that England is not your home. Nigeria is your home. So, as much as you want to do anything there, you always come back home. And I think for some time, family was a driver to why I did come back home. But much later, I realized that yes, you benefit from the Western education, but the idea is that you should bring something back home. And not just to say just come back, and if you studied accounting there, come and do accounting here, because the level of advancement is not the same.
Sure.
So for me, I had this mindset of well, if there's going to be any impact, if I sit in London and I wait for someone else to do it, I don't know how long it will take, and I don't know if I'll be, in the midst of it. A friend of mine and myself, we always used to say that at the point where Nigeria gets to optimize its potential, we want to be at the helm of things. We want to be inside the core of it. We want to be part of the leaders of that change, of that optimization. And so even when I look at it now, yes, a lot of people are jackpotting, a lot of people are traveling, but I feel if any change is going to happen, it has to be, this is the building stage, and it's a bit of a sacrifice. Because you're sacrificing the comforts, the government that makes life easier for you abroad, to Nigeria and its jaga jaga system, as they'll say. But like it's an investment into the future that you not just hope, but you are working towards, and you want Nigeria to attain.
So for you to really look at Nigeria and say, this is an opportunity, there is potential here, what was different about your upbringing that allowed for you to see possibilities where others see closed doors, and see when people see challenges and toughness, you see something you want to take on?
I think it's just how I was raised. Some people may be raised in that mindset of, oh, be careful, don't do this. You need to structure your life. You need to make sure everything is ordered. And once you get a good job, you can go. I was raised in a dynamic environment of businesses popping up left and right, of policymakers, of things, people that were at the helm of changing things, making impact. And for me, I felt that everything is possible. Why not? I never, which is why at the age of 22, I started a company in facility management. And like I said, a lot of my staff were much older than me, and they were men predominantly. And I didn't have it in my mind like, oh, I'm a bit scared of what I will say to them. When I stepped into the hotel, I wasn't really worried. I was dishing out commands and telling people, this is what we need to do, this is where we need to go. And it never really occurred to me that, should you be in that position? Are you sure? Will they listen to you? Will they? So I think it's also how children are brought up. Some children are brought up to say, well, just be careful, ensure you have some security. Other children are brought up telling them, Nigeria is yours. The country is yours. If there's going to be change, it is you that will bring it.
Yeah.
And they themselves they show up in life as solution providers.
You know that I am part of the process.
Exactly.
I'm part of the
So they're looking out in Nigeria and they're setting up companies, setting up businesses. Fair enough, the environment is a tough one. It's not like it's the most encouraging environment to work in, but those kids just have this mindset of, yeah, I can do it. Why not?
For someone who has managed businesses and started her own, what are the I would say three things you think an entrepreneur needs to have to succeed in this environment? I mean, before you got here, one of the other guests we had also shared his own experience about trying to build a company, and after a while he realized he was not going to make it work. It was like, nothing can change here. So what are the three things you think entrepreneurs building in Africa needs to have to give them increase their possibilities of success?
I would say courage, patience, or grit, that staying power. And I would say discipline. And those three things, I hope they don't really sound like they're all in the same line, because they all three
Courage, grit, and discipline.
and discipline. I would say courage, because when you step out, you have to be bold. You really have to be bold in Nigeria. And I mean, in England, yes, you can be bold, but I don't know. The environment in England is gentle. In Nigeria, someone can just push you. They go, what do you think? Yeah, who do you got? When did you start this company? This 2-year company. You want to do 100 million contract? How? So you have to be bold, courageous. You have to have grit, because maybe the first 2 years you might not hit it the way you think you would. Maybe the first 2 years, the market that you think you're targeting, they might not receive your product as well as you thought they would. Maybe in those first 2 years you don't have monthly income. You can't predict where the money will come from, and you have to persevere. You have to keep on pushing, and that is a really hard part, because you may speak to an entrepreneur and you're encouraging them, and before you know it, they're like, okay, you know what, well, I'm just going to wrap this business up. It's not working. It's very hard. And that is it. A lot of startups, they don't realize that journey ahead of you sometimes it's up the mountain that you have to climb, and you may not be prepared for it, and you may start packing your bags before you even get to the peak or even to the middle.
So let's talk about how you've kept on, Rachel. Anytime I need you, something is new. Like, Rachel is always dreaming, and I love that, because that is exactly where I am. I wake up, and so when I tell people, when someone is telling me, I'm sorry, it might come across to you like I have a lot of ideas, but just one more I want to quickly tell you. I'm not exactly doing it now, but I'm thinking about it. You get, yeah. So, but again, some people, after one failure, they quit. At that point in time, they tell themselves, this is how far I can go. This is how far I can come. Do you want to walk us through any experience you've had, an event as an entrepreneur that almost made you quit, and why you consistently did not?